The most powerful people in the room are rarely the loudest. They don't talk to impress, they speak with intention. Influence is not built with more words, it is built with the right ones. This book will teach you how to command attention without demanding it, how to create impact without noise, how to lead conversations by saying less, not more. Because real influence is quiet, it is calm, it is precise. Stay with me till the end, and make sure to subscribe, because your journey to speaking less and influencing more begins now. Chapter 1. The Power of Silence and Presence. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is power. In a world where everyone is trying to be heard, the one who speaks less is often the one who is remembered most. The room does not follow the loudest voice. It follows the calmest presence. True influence is not built by filling every moment with sound. It is built by owning the space between words. Most people talk to prove something. Social masters speak to move something. And that difference changes everything. Silence is not weakness. It is control. It is awareness. It is emotional authority. When you are comfortable with silence, you are comfortable with yourself. And when you are comfortable with yourself, people feel it. They feel your stability. They feel your calm. They feel your confidence. Presence begins before your first word. It begins the moment you enter a room. How you walk, how you stand, how you breathe, how you look. Your body speaks before your mouth ever opens. A rushed body signals fear. A tense body signals insecurity. A restless body signals uncertainty. But a grounded body signals power. Stillness is strength. The person who can sit quietly in a room, without reaching for attention, already commands it. Most people talk because silence makes them nervous. They fear being invisible. They fear being judged. They fear not being important. So they fill the air with noise. But the one who does not fear silence does not need to prove anything. And that confidence changes the energy of the entire space. Presence is not about being seen. It is about being felt. Some people walk into a room and nothing changes. Others walk in and the atmosphere shifts. That shift is presence. Presence is emotional gravity. It pulls attention without effort. It commands respect without demand. It creates curiosity without chasing it. People lean in when presence enters. They slow down. They listen more closely. They become more aware. Silence sharpens attention. When you speak less, every word carries more weight. When you pause before speaking, people wait. When you don't rush to respond, your response feels important. Silence turns ordinary words into authority. Most people waste their influence by talking too much. They explain too much. They justify too much. They repeat too much. And in doing so, they dilute their power. Power lives in precision. The less you say, the more carefully people listen. The less you rush, the more respect you receive. The less you chase attention, the more naturally it comes to you. Silence creates psychological dominance, not because it intimidates, but because it unsettles expectation. People expect noise. They expect reaction. They expect response. When you remain calm and quiet, they become curious. Curiosity is influence. People want to understand the person who does not need to explain themselves. Presence is also built through emotional control. If your emotions control your words, your influence collapses. If you can feel deeply and speak selectively, you become powerful. A person who reacts quickly reveals insecurity. A person who pauses reveals confidence. Pausing is not hesitation. Pausing is choice. It means you are not ruled by impulse. You are guided by intention. This is the mindset of a social master. They do not speak because they feel. They speak because the moment calls for it. They do not fill silence. They use it. They do not compete for attention. They command it naturally. Presence also grows from self-trust. When you trust yourself, you do not need approval. When you do not need approval, you do not perform. And when you do not perform, you become real. People trust real. They feel safe around real, and safety creates influence. Silence creates mystery. Mystery creates interest. Interest creates attention. Attention creates influence. This is the chain reaction of quiet power. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most influential. The calmest one usually is, because calm is contagious. When you remain calm, others regulate themselves around you. Your stillness slows their pace. Your grounded energy stabilizes their emotions. Your presence becomes the emotional anchor of the room. This is leadership without speaking, influence without force, authority without arrogance. Silence also protects your energy. Every unnecessary word drains you. Every emotional reaction leaks power. But when you speak with purpose, your energy remains clean. Clean energy attracts respect. People feel when someone is centered. They feel when someone is secure. They feel when someone is unshaken, and they respond accordingly. The more you master silence, the more control you gain over your presence. The more control you gain, the more influence you hold. This is the paradox of power. The quieter you become, the stronger you are. The calmer you become, the more dominant your presence feels. The less you chase, the more you attract. The less you speak, the more people listen. This is the first law of influence. Silence creates authority. Presence creates gravity. And together, they make you unforgettable. Chapter 2. The Psychology of Influence Without Words. Influence begins long before you speak. It begins the moment someone notices you. Before a single word leaves your mouth, your body has already spoken. Your eyes have already sent a message. Your posture has already declared your confidence. Your presence has already shaped perception. Most people believe influence comes from clever sentences, but the truth is simpler and far more powerful. People do not follow words. They follow energy. They follow certainty. They follow calm. They follow presence. A person can speak beautifully and still fail to influence. Another can say almost nothing and still command the room, because influence is not language. Influence is psychology, and psychology is shaped by what people feel around you. Human beings decide emotionally first. They justify logically later. They trust how you make them feel. They follow how you make them feel. They respect how you make them feel. Your presence becomes your message. The most influential people in the world are not loud. They are grounded. They do not dominate conversation. They dominate attention. They do not interrupt. They anchor. They do not rush. They regulate. They do not push. They pull. Influence without words is built through emotional authority. Emotional authority is the ability to remain stable while others fluctuate. It is the power of calm in chaos. The power of clarity in confusion. The power of restraint in pressure. People trust those who do not panic. They follow those who do not shake. A steady nervous system creates leadership. When your inner world is stable, your outer world responds. Your voice becomes slower. Your movements become deliberate. Your eyes become focused. Your breath becomes deeper. These signals communicate confidence, and confidence is influence. Influence also comes from certainty, not arrogance, not ego, not force. Quiet certainty, the kind that does not need approval, the kind that does not beg agreement, the kind that does not chase validation. Certainty feels safe. People lean towards certainty because uncertainty creates tension. When you are sure of yourself, others relax around you. They feel guided. They feel supported. They feel anchored. This emotional response is what creates influence. Your presence becomes the emotional reference point of the room. Everyone calibrates around you. The anxious slow down, the insecure soften, the aggressive quiet down, because your energy sets the emotional tone. This is leadership without speaking. Influence is also built through restraint. Restraint is power. The person who speaks only when necessary is perceived as wise. The person who reacts only when it matters is perceived as strong. The person who does not explain themselves endlessly is perceived as confident. Restraint creates respect. People respect what is controlled. They distrust what is chaotic. When your emotions are disciplined, your presence becomes commanding. You no longer leak insecurity. You no longer seek validation. You no longer chase attention. You simply arrive, and the room adjusts. Influence also grows from consistency. People trust patterns. They trust predictability. They trust emotional reliability. When your energy is steady, people feel safe around you. They know what to expect. They know how you will respond. They know you will not explode or collapse. This reliability builds authority. Authority builds influence. Influence also comes from space. The space you give people, the space you take for yourself. When you crowd people emotionally, they pull away. When you give them room, they lean in. The ability to create emotional space is a form of control. It signals confidence. It says, I am not desperate for attention. I am not afraid of silence. I am comfortable with myself. That comfort becomes magnetic. People move toward emotional freedom, and freedom exists around people who do not pressure, do not push, do not chase. Influence also grows from observation. Social masters watch more than they speak. They read faces. They sense energy. They notice shifts. Because when you understand the emotional climate, you control the moment. You know when to enter. You know when to wait. You know when to guide. You know when to hold space. This timing amplifies influence. Even a simple sentence, spoken at the right moment, can move a person deeply. Because timing is psychology, influence is also shaped by emotional neutrality. If you are easily triggered, people control you. If you are emotionally steady, you control the interaction. The person who reacts loses power. The person who responds holds power. Power is calm. Calm is influence. Social dominance is not aggression. It is emotional stability. The most influential person in the room is the one who feels the least threatened. They do not compete. They do not compare. They do not perform. They simply remain grounded. This grounded presence creates gravity. People gravitate toward emotional gravity. They want to be near it. They want to learn from it. They want to follow it. Influence is also shaped by how you handle pressure. Pressure reveals character. Some people collapse. Some people become reactive. Some people become defensive. But social masters become still. They slow down. They breathe deeper. They listen more. This composure under pressure creates admiration. Admiration creates influence. People follow those who can carry weight without breaking. Influence without words is built through thousands of tiny signals. The way you enter a room, the way you take your seat, the way you make eye contact, the way you listen, the way you pause, the way you respond. These signals build your reputation silently. People decide who you are before you explain yourself. And once that perception forms, your words simply reinforce it. That is why presence comes before persuasion. If your presence is weak, your words are ignored. If your presence is strong, your words land. Influence is not what you say. It is who you are when you say it. And who you are is revealed in silence. Chapter 3. The Art of Controlled Expression. Influence is not about hiding your thoughts. It is about mastering how and when you reveal them. Most people express everything they feel. Social masters express only what matters. This is the difference between noise and impact. Every word you release shapes how others see you. Every reaction you show reveals your emotional control. Every expression you display becomes part of your reputation. Controlled expression is the ability to choose what leaves your inner world and what stays within it. It is not suppression. It is discipline. It is the power to feel deeply without leaking emotionally. The person who expresses everything becomes predictable. The person who chooses carefully becomes powerful. When your words are rare, they carry weight. When your emotions are balanced, they command respect. Most people speak to release tension. They talk to empty their mind. They react to discharge emotion, but social masters speak to create effect. They speak to move perception. They speak to shape direction. They speak to guide emotion. Their expression is intentional. Controlled expression begins with awareness. You must feel your emotion before you release it. If emotion escapes you unconsciously, you lose control of the moment. But if you pause, observe, and decide, your expression becomes a tool. The pause is power. In that pause, you reclaim authority over your reaction. You decide whether to speak. You decide what to reveal. You decide how much to show. This choice separates influence from impulse. Most people live in impulse. Social masters live in intention. Expression is not just words. It is tone. It is facial movement. It is posture. It is breath. Your face can reveal fear even when your mouth stays calm. Your shoulders can show doubt even when your words sound confident. Your breath can expose tension even when your voice is steady. Controlled expression aligns all of you. Your body matches your message. Your energy matches your intention. Your presence matches your authority. This alignment creates credibility. People trust what feels congruent. They doubt what feels conflicted. If your words say confidence, but your body says insecurity, your influence collapses. But when your expression is controlled, your message lands clean. You feel powerful without forcing. You feel calm without pretending. You feel present without performing. This inner discipline creates outer respect. Controlled expression also protects you. It keeps your private emotions private. It prevents others from reading your weaknesses. It stops manipulation before it begins. People can only use what you reveal. The more you expose emotionally, the easier you are to influence. The more centered you remain, the harder you are to control. This does not mean becoming cold. It means becoming sovereign. You feel, but you do not spill. You experience, but you do not collapse. You connect, but you do not dissolve into others. This emotional sovereignty is power. The art of controlled expression also shapes attraction, not romantic attraction, social attraction. People are drawn to those who do not overshare, do not overreact, do not overwhelm. They feel safe around emotional stability. They relax around emotional discipline. They trust emotional maturity. Controlled expression creates mystery. Mystery keeps attention alive. When people cannot fully read you, they become curious. Curiosity creates engagement. Engagement creates influence. This is why social masters reveal slowly. They do not rush intimacy. They do not flood conversations. They do not dominate emotional space. They allow connection to unfold naturally. This pacing deepens impact. Influence grows in layers, not explosions. Another pillar of controlled expression is emotional filtering. Not every thought deserves a voice. Not every feeling needs expression. Not every reaction should be shared. Wisdom is knowing what to keep. Social masters filter their communication through purpose. They ask internally, will this build connection? Will this improve understanding? Will this strengthen trust? If not, they hold silence. Silence becomes strategy. Silence becomes strength. Silence becomes authority. The person who controls their expression controls the emotional flow of the interaction. They set the tone. They guide the rhythm. They shape the outcome. This is influence. Controlled expression also transforms conflict. People who express everything escalate tension. People who regulate expression de-escalate tension. They speak slower. They listen longer. They react softer. This changes the emotional temperature. Suddenly, what felt explosive becomes manageable. What felt personal becomes practical. What felt chaotic becomes clear. This emotional leadership earns respect. People admire those who can stay composed when others lose control. That composure becomes authority. Authority becomes influence. Controlled expression is not about silence alone. It is about precision. When you speak, your words are clean. No rambling, no justification. No emotional clutter, just clarity. This clarity commands attention. People listen because there is nothing to filter, nothing to decode, nothing to defend against. Your message arrives directly. Controlled expression also shapes leadership. Leaders who overreact lose credibility. Leaders who overshare lose authority. But leaders who express with intention build loyalty. Their teams trust them. Their words guide. Their silence stabilizes. People follow those who feel emotionally reliable. Reliability is power. Power is influence. The art of controlled expression is the art of emotional mastery. It is knowing when to speak, when to pause, when to reveal, when to protect. It is becoming the author of your reactions instead of the victim of them. This mastery changes how people respond to you. They listen more, they respect more, they follow more, because you no longer leak uncertainty. You no longer broadcast insecurity. You no longer surrender authority through impulse. You become grounded, centered, precise. And in that precision, your influence grows naturally. Chapter 4. The authority of calm communication. Power does not shout. Power stands still. In every room there is one person who controls the emotional rhythm, not by force, not by volume, but by calm. Calm communication is authority. The world listens to the person who is not rushed. The world follows the person who is not shaken. The world respects the person who is not reactive. Most people believe authority comes from dominance, but dominance creates resistance. Calm creates trust. Trust is the real source of influence. A calm voice carries weight. A calm presence commands attention. A calm response disarms tension. When others rush, you slow down. When others panic, you breathe. When others react, you choose. This emotional control separates leaders from followers. People do not follow chaos. They follow stability. Stability feels safe. Safety creates loyalty. Calm communication begins with inner discipline. If your emotions control your words, you lose authority. If you control your emotions, your words gain power. A person who speaks from calm never needs to prove themselves. Their certainty is quiet. Their confidence is natural. Their presence is grounded. People trust what feels grounded. Calm communication is not slow thinking. It is clear thinking. It is not emotional distance. It is emotional mastery. You feel deeply. You respond wisely. You hear fully. But you speak selectively. This discipline shapes your reputation. People begin to see you as someone who can be relied on, someone who does not overreact, someone who brings clarity to chaos. This perception becomes authority. Authority is not claimed. It is given, and it is given to those who make others feel safe. A calm communicator lowers defenses. When people feel safe, they open. When they open, influence flows naturally. People do not resist those who respect emotional space. Calm creates space. Space allows reflection. Reflection creates understanding. Understanding builds connection. Connection creates influence. This is the hidden chain of authority. Most arguments are not about logic. They are about emotion. People defend when they feel attacked. They listen when they feel respected. Calm communication removes the sense of threat. Your voice softens the room. Your presence lowers tension. Your restraint changes direction. Conflict transforms into conversation. The calm communicator becomes the emotional leader. They guide without pushing. They correct without humiliating. They disagree without attacking. This earns admiration. People respect strength that does not need aggression. Aggression signals insecurity. Calm signals control. Control is power. A calm communicator never rushes to win. They aim to understand. Understanding creates alignment. Alignment creates cooperation. Cooperation is influence. Calm also creates psychological dominance. The person who remains unshaken holds the emotional high ground. When others react emotionally, they reveal vulnerability. When you remain calm, you reveal mastery. People instinctively look to the calmest person for direction. This is leadership without command. The authority of calm communication is built through consistency. Anyone can be calm once, few can be calm always. Consistency builds reputation. People remember how you show up under pressure. If you remain steady, they trust you. If you collapse, they doubt you. Calm becomes your signature, a signature that speaks louder than any speech. Calm communication also protects your dignity. When you do not react impulsively, you do not regret your words. You do not leak weakness. You do not reveal insecurity. You remain composed. Composure is influence. The world responds differently to those who carry themselves with composure. They are taken seriously. They are listened to carefully. They are respected instinctively. Calm communication transforms every interaction. Meetings become smoother. Disagreements become productive. Decisions become clearer. Your presence becomes stabilizing. People seek your opinion. They value your perspective. They trust your judgment. Because your words come from balance, not impulse. Balance creates authority. Authority creates influence. Influence creates leadership. And leadership is the ultimate form of speaking less and influencing more. Chapter 5. The strategy of saying just enough. Influence grows when restraint becomes your habit. The strongest message is often the shortest one. Most people speak to empty their mind. Social masters speak to shape the moment. There is a difference between sharing and spilling, between clarity and clutter, between precision and noise. Saying just enough is a strategy. It is the art of delivering meaning without drowning it in explanation. It is the discipline of choosing impact over volume. When you say too much, people stop listening. When you say just enough, people lean in. Attention follows economy. Every word you remove makes the remaining words stronger. This is how influence is concentrated. The human mind is wired to value what is scarce. Long speeches dilute urgency. Endless detail blurs direction. Repetition numbs perception. But a clean message cuts through. It lands. It stays. Saying just enough begins with intention. You must know what you want the moment to become. Do you want clarity? Do you want alignment? Do you want calm? Do you want movement? Your intention becomes the filter. If a word does not serve the intention, it does not belong. This discipline turns speech into design. You are no longer reacting. You are crafting. Most people talk in circles. They wander through ideas. They stack explanations. They chase agreement. Social masters move straight to the point, not with aggression, with precision. Precision feels respectful. It saves time. It honors attention. People trust those who respect their mental space. When you say just enough, you show emotional intelligence. You signal that you are aware of the other person's capacity. You do not overload them. You do not overwhelm them. You do not exhaust them. This creates comfort. Comfort creates openness. Openness creates influence. The strategy of saying just enough also protects your authority. When you over-explain, you invite doubt. When you justify, you weaken your position. When you repeat, you signal insecurity. Confidence does not need a long defense. A calm statement, spoken once, is more powerful than a nervous explanation, spoken 10 times. Authority lives in brevity. Brevity does not mean coldness. It means clarity. It means you trust your message. It means you trust yourself. This trust is felt. People feel when a person is comfortable with their position. They feel when someone does not need to convince. This emotional signal creates respect. Saying just enough also creates space for others. When you dominate the conversation, you remove participation. When you leave space, you invite engagement. People support what they help create. By speaking less, you allow others to step forward. Their involvement deepens connection. Their voice strengthens alignment, and alignment multiplies influence. The strategy also sharpens timing. Long speech ignores the moment. Short speech honors it. You deliver your point when attention is highest. You stop before energy fades. This preserves momentum. Momentum is influence. People move with momentum. Saying just enough also creates mystery. Mystery holds attention. When everything is revealed, curiosity dies. When some is left unsaid, interest grows. People think about your words after the conversation ends. They replay them. They reflect on them. They internalize them. This is delayed influence. The mind works on what it is given space to explore. Silence, after a strong statement, gives your words time to root. Rooted words grow. Rushed words fade. The strategy of saying just enough also improves decision-making. When communication is clean, choices become clear. When communication is cluttered, confusion spreads. Confusion creates hesitation. Hesitation kills momentum. A clear voice moves people forward. This is leadership. Leadership is not about volume. It is about direction. Direction is created by concise communication. Saying just enough also strengthens negotiation. When you speak too much, you reveal leverage. When you speak selectively, you protect position. Silence forces the other side to reveal. It invites them to fill the space. Information flows toward restraint. The quiet side often learns more. Knowledge is influence. Influence is advantage. This strategy also transforms persuasion. People resist pressure. They accept clarity. A short, grounded statement respects autonomy. It allows the listener to decide. People trust what they choose. They resist what they feel pushed into. Saying just enough lets the idea breathe. It lets the person arrive at the conclusion themselves. Self-discovered conclusions are the strongest ones. This is how influence becomes internal. Internal influence lasts longer. External pressure fades. The strategy also sharpens your identity. When your communication is consistent, your reputation becomes clear. People know what you stand for. They know how you think. They know how you move. This predictability creates authority. Authority creates followership. Followership creates impact. Saying just enough is not about being silent. It is about being intentional. It is the balance between presence and restraint, between clarity and space, between leadership and listening. When you master this balance, your words become tools. They build, they guide, they align, and they never overwhelm. This strategy turns communication into a form of quiet power. Power that does not shout. Power that does not rush. Power that does not beg. Just enough. Always. Chapter 6. The quiet language of authority. Authority is not announced. It is felt. You do not declare power. You embody it. The strongest leaders do not demand attention. They attract it. They do not compete for control. They radiate it. Authority lives in the way you move, the way you listen, the way you respond, the way you hold your ground. It is the language you speak without opening your mouth. Most people believe authority comes from position, but real authority comes from presence. Presence is what makes people pause when you enter. It is what makes them listen when you speak. It is what makes them trust when you decide. Authority is emotional gravity. People align with those who feel stable. They follow those who feel grounded. They respect those who feel centered. A shaky voice does not lead. A rushed mind does not command. A reactive spirit does not inspire. Authority requires stillness. Stillness is not silence alone. It is inner balance. When your thoughts are clear, your words become sharp. When your emotions are regulated, your presence becomes calm. When your intentions are clean, your energy becomes powerful. This combination creates authority. The quiet language of authority is spoken through consistency. People watch how you behave under pressure. They notice how you respond to resistance. They remember how you carry yourself in conflict. Your reputation is built in moments of tension. If you remain composed, they trust you. If you react impulsively, they doubt you. Authority grows where self-control lives. Self-control is not restriction. It is freedom. It frees you from emotional hijacking. It frees you from impulsive reactions. It frees you from regret. When you are free inside, you become powerful outside. Authority is also built through restraint. Restraint signals maturity. It shows that you do not need to prove yourself. You speak when it matters. You act when it counts. You remain silent when silence is wiser. People respect those who know when not to speak, because silence shows confidence. Confidence shows strength. Strength earns respect. Authority also grows from emotional clarity. When you understand your own motives, you communicate cleanly. There is no hidden agenda, no manipulation, no insecurity disguised as confidence. People feel when someone is honest. Honesty creates trust. Trust creates authority. The quiet language of authority is also written in your posture, how you stand, how you sit, how you occupy space. A collapsed posture suggests doubt. A tense posture suggests fear. A grounded posture suggests control. Your body tells the story before your words ever do. Authority moves slowly. It does not rush. It does not chase. It does not panic. It allows the world to come to it. This patience is magnetic. People lean toward those who are not desperate. Desperation repels. Certainty attracts. Authority also reveals itself in how you handle disagreement. If you become defensive, you lose ground. If you become aggressive, you create resistance. But if you remain calm, you command the moment. Calm under challenge is one of the strongest signals of leadership. It tells others you are not threatened. People follow those who are not afraid. Authority is also created through boundaries. When you respect your own limits, others respect you. When you protect your time, others value it. When you protect your energy, others honor it. Boundaries define status. People with no boundary are easily used. People with strong boundaries are deeply respected. Authority also lives in decision-making. A person who hesitates endlessly loses credibility. A person who decides calmly earns trust. Decisiveness signals confidence. Confidence signals leadership. Leadership signals authority. The quiet language of authority is heard in how you listen. When you listen fully, people feel important. When people feel important, they respect you. Listening is influence. Silence while listening is power. It tells the other person that their words matter. That respect is remembered. Authority is also built through emotional neutrality. If you are easily offended, you are easy to control. If you are easily provoked, you are easy to manipulate. But if you remain neutral, you remain sovereign. Sovereignty is power. Power is authority. The quiet language of authority is the art of staying centered in a noisy world. It is the discipline of calm in emotional storms. It is the strength of restraint in moments of pressure. It is the wisdom of silence in moments of tension. Authority is not loud. It does not need volume. It does not need drama. It simply stands, and the world adjusts around it. Chapter 7. The Power of Strategic Silence. Silence is not absence. Silence is intention. When you choose silence, you choose control. Most people speak to fill space. Social masters use silence to shape it. There is a difference between being quiet and being silent with purpose. Quiet can be fear. Silence is strength. Strategic silence is the ability to hold a moment without needing to escape it. It is the discipline of staying present without rushing to respond. It is the confidence to let tension breathe. Most people rush to speak because silence makes them uncomfortable. They fear judgment. They fear awkwardness. They fear being forgotten, so they rush to fill the air. But when you stay silent, others reveal themselves. They speak more. They explain more. They expose more. Information flows toward silence. The quiet side learns. The speaking side reveals. This is influence. Strategic silence turns the conversation into a mirror. People begin to hear themselves. They reflect on their words. They process their thoughts. And in that reflection, your presence grows stronger. Silence creates psychological space. Space invites thought. Thought creates clarity. When you speak into clarity, your words land deeper. When you speak into noise, your words disappear. Strategic silence also controls rhythm. Conversations have pace. Emotions have tempo. If you rush the rhythm, you break connection. If you respect the rhythm, you build alignment. Silence slows the moment. Slowing the moment creates authority. People trust those who are not rushed. They follow those who are not reactive. They respect those who are not shaken. Silence is emotional dominance, not through intimidation, but through stability. When others speak impulsively, you observe. When others argue emotionally, you remain grounded. When others demand reaction, you pause. That pause becomes power. People look to the one who is not panicking. They search for the one who is not desperate. They follow the one who is not afraid of stillness. Strategic silence also disarms conflict. Anger feeds on reaction. Ego feeds on resistance. Drama feeds on attention. Silence starves them all. When you do not react emotionally, the storm loses strength. The fire fades. The pressure dissolves. The moment resets. You regain control. This is emotional leadership. Silence is also a test. It tests patience. It tests self-trust. It tests presence. If you can hold silence, you can hold power. Because power requires stillness. Stillness creates gravity. Gravity pulls influence toward you. Strategic silence also sharpens perception. When you speak less, you notice more. You read faces. You sense energy. You feel shifts. You become emotionally aware. Awareness is advantage. Advantage creates leverage. Leverage creates influence. Silence also gives your words value. When you speak rarely, your voice becomes important. People listen more closely. They remember more clearly. They respect more deeply. Your words stop being noise. They become signal. Signal commands attention. Attention creates impact. Strategic silence also builds mystery. People want to understand what they cannot read easily. When you do not reveal everything, curiosity grows. Curiosity draws people in. They seek your thoughts. They ask your opinion. They want your perspective. This attention is influence. Silence also protects your emotional position. When you speak too much, you expose leverage. When you reveal everything, you lose advantage. But when you hold back, you stay in control. Control is power. Power is influence. Strategic silence is not withdrawal. It is awareness. It is choosing the right moment, the right tone, the right words. It is waiting for the door to open before you step through. Timing multiplies influence. A single sentence, spoken at the right moment, can outweigh 1,000 words, spoken too early. Strategic silence trains patience. Patience strengthens judgment. Judgment sharpens decision-making. Decision-making builds authority. Authority creates leadership, and leadership is influence. Silence also deepens presence. When you are silent, your energy becomes visible. People feel your attention. They sense your awareness. They notice your calm. This presence becomes magnetic. People lean toward grounded energy. They trust stability. They respect composure. Strategic silence also refines confidence. You stop seeking validation. You stop needing approval. You stop chasing attention. You become self-contained. Self-containment is strength. Strength creates gravity. Gravity attracts respect. Strategic silence is the language of the emotionally intelligent. It speaks without shouting. It commands without demanding. It leads without forcing. It shapes conversation before they begin. It controls outcomes before they unfold. It turns ordinary moments into powerful ones. Silence is not the absence of power, it is its highest form, and when you master it, you no longer need to speak loudly to be heard. Your presence does the talking. Chapter 8. The precision of minimal words. Influence sharpens when words become rare. Power grows when speech becomes deliberate. Most people talk in volume. Social masters speak in precision. There is a difference between expression and impact, between explanation and direction, between conversation and command. Minimal words are not empty. They are concentrated. They carry weight because nothing weakens them. They land because nothing distracts from them. They stay because nothing replaces them. The mind remembers what stands alone. A long speech dissolves into noise. A short statement becomes signal. Signal commands attention. The human brain filters constantly. It ignores excess. It absorbs clarity. When you speak less, your message bypasses resistance. It enters directly. Precision begins with intention. You must know what matters. You must know what moves. You must know what changes direction. Everything else is decoration. Social masters remove decoration. They do not decorate truth. They deliver it. They do not perform ideas. They place them. They do not surround meaning. They strike it. Minimal words strike. They cut through confusion. They end hesitation. They create motion. This is leadership through language. The precision of minimal words respects attention. It honors the listener. It does not steal time. It does not flood space. It does not exhaust the mind. It arrives clean and leaves impact behind. People trust clarity. Clarity feels safe. Clarity feels grounded. Clarity feels honest. When words are minimal, there is nowhere to hide. No manipulation, no confusion, no emotional clutter. Just truth. Truth builds authority. Authority builds influence. Precision also creates emotional control. When you speak less, you react less. When you react less, you remain sovereign. Sovereignty is power. Power is influence. Minimal words protect your position. They prevent overexposure. They block emotional leakage. They stop unnecessary conflict. The less you say, the fewer doors you open for misunderstanding. Misunderstanding kills influence. Clarity builds it. Minimal words also improve timing. Long speech ignores the moment. Short speech honors it. You enter when attention is high. You leave before it drops. This preserves impact. People remember what arrives at the peak of focus. Precision turns timing into advantage. The person who speaks last often speaks strongest. Because silence builds anticipation. Anticipation sharpens attention. Attention amplifies influence. Minimal words also strengthen confidence. When you speak briefly, you signal certainty. Certainty attracts trust. People follow those who sound sure, not loud. Sure. There is a calm power in a short sentence spoken once. It tells the room, you do not need to convince. You simply know. Knowing is authority. Authority is influence. Minimal words also shape negotiation. When you talk too much, you reveal leverage. When you speak selectively, you maintain advantage. Silence invites the other side to reveal more. Information flows toward restraint. The quiet side controls the frame. Control is power. Power is influence. Minimal words also guide persuasion. Pressure creates resistance. Clarity creates movement. A simple statement respects autonomy. It allows the listener to decide. People support what they choose. Choice creates commitment. Commitment creates alignment. Alignment creates influence. Precision also builds reputation. People remember how you communicate. They remember whether you ramble or whether you lead. They remember whether you confuse or whether you clarify. They remember whether you overwhelm or whether you direct. Your reputation is built, one sentence at a time. Minimal words carve identity. They shape how others see you. They define how others trust you. They decide how others follow you. This is the quiet architecture of influence. Precision is also emotional discipline. You stop speaking from impulse. You start speaking from purpose. You choose your words, the way a craftsman chooses tools. Nothing wasted, nothing excess, everything intentional. This discipline transforms communication into design. You design outcomes. You design direction. You design momentum. Minimal words move people. They do not entertain. They direct. They do not distract. They align. They do not impress. They lead. Influence is not volume. It is clarity. Influence is not speed. It is timing. Influence is not noise. It is precision. When you master minimal words, your voice becomes rare, and what is rare becomes valuable. People wait for your opinion. They listen carefully when you speak. They trust your direction, because your words no longer wander. They arrive, they land, they move. This is the power of speaking less and influencing more. Chapter 9. The discipline of listening to lead. Leadership begins in silence. Not the silence of absence, but the silence of attention. Most people listen to reply. Leaders listen to understand. Understanding creates direction. Direction creates influence. The discipline of listening is the discipline of power. When you listen fully, you control the frame of the conversation. You gather information. You read emotion. You sense hesitation. You notice resistance. And while others speak, you build advantage. Information is leverage. Leverage is influence. Listening is not passive. It is active awareness. It is the ability to hold space without stealing it. It is the confidence to remain quiet while others reveal themselves. Most people speak to be seen. Leaders listen to see. This difference shapes authority. When you listen deeply, people feel respected. Respect creates trust. Trust opens doors. People tell you what matters. When they feel heard, they share fears. They reveal goals. They expose doubts. This insight gives you clarity. Clarity guides leadership. Leadership is not commanding. It is aligning. And alignment begins with listening. The discipline of listening slows the room. It brings focus. It creates calm. It lowers defenses. People relax around those who are not rushing to speak. They feel safe. Safety creates openness. Openness creates connection. Connection creates influence. Listening also sharpens perception. You hear what is said. You feel what is not said. You notice tone. You sense emotion. You read between words. This emotional intelligence gives you social accuracy. Accuracy turns communication into leadership. Most people miss the moment because they are waiting to talk. Leaders catch the moment because they are fully present. Presence is authority. Authority is influence. The discipline of listening also builds patience. Patience strengthens judgment. Judgment sharpens decisions. Decisions guide direction. Direction builds trust. Trust creates followership. Listening is the foundation of all leadership. People do not follow those who do not hear them. They follow those who understand them. Understanding builds loyalty. Loyalty builds momentum. Momentum moves people. Listening also controls conflict. When emotions rise, voices rise, but the leader lowers the temperature. By listening, they let emotion empty itself. They let tension release. They let pressure dissolve. Only then do they speak. And when they speak, their words land, because the room is ready. Readiness is influence. Listening also builds credibility. People trust those who take time to hear. They respect those who do not rush to judge. They admire those who create space for truth. Truth creates clarity. Clarity builds authority. Authority builds influence. Listening is also restraint. It is the choice to delay your voice so the moment can reveal itself. This restraint signals confidence. Confident people do not compete for air. They allow others to breathe. They allow ideas to form. They allow the conversation to mature. Maturity earns respect. Respect creates leadership. The discipline of listening also strengthens negotiation. When you listen, you discover leverage. You learn priorities. You uncover pressure points. You sense flexibility. This awareness gives you control. Control is power. Power is influence. Listening also sharpens persuasion. People resist arguments. They accept understanding. When someone feels understood, they open to guidance. Guidance feels safe. Safety invites change. Change is influence. Listening is also emotional leadership. You show strength by holding space. You show confidence by staying present. You show authority by not rushing the moment. The room mirrors your pace. If you slow down, others slow down. If you calm down, others calm down. This is emotional entrainment. The leader sets the rhythm. Listening also shapes reputation. People remember how you made them feel. If they felt heard, they remember respect. If they felt ignored, they remember distance. Reputation is influence. Influence is leadership. The discipline of listening is not about silence alone. It is about intention. It is about choosing connection over control. It is about choosing understanding over dominance. It is about choosing clarity, you over noise. When you listen to lead, you do not need to speak loudly to be followed. Your presence guides, your calm directs, your attention commands. People move toward those who make them feel seen. They follow those who make them feel understood. They trust those who make them feel respected. Listening is the shortest path to influence and the strongest form of quiet power. Chapter 10. The quiet path to lasting influence. Influence that lasts is never loud. It does not demand attention. It does not chase approval. It does not beg to be seen. It stands, and the world slowly turns toward it. Most people try to win moments. Social masters build legacies. Moments fade. Presence remains. Lasting influence is built through who you are every day, not what you say once. It grows from consistency, from restraint, from clarity, from emotional discipline. The quiet path is not easy, but it is powerful, because it requires you to master yourself before mastering the room. Influence begins when you stop trying to impress. It grows when you stop trying to convince. It becomes permanence when you stop trying to prove. People follow those who are grounded in themselves. They trust those who do not need validation. They respect those who are not shaken by noise. Lasting influence is built through emotional reliability. When people know you will remain calm, they trust you. When they know you will listen, they open to you. When they know you will not react impulsively, they respect you. This reliability becomes your signature. Your signature becomes your reputation. Your reputation becomes your influence. Your influence is not created in speeches. It is created in silence. In how you walk into rooms, in how you hold eye contact, in how you respond to pressure, in how you manage conflict, in how you protect your dignity. People watch you more than they hear you. They measure your presence. They read your composure. They feel your energy. This silent communication shapes their trust. Trust shapes loyalty. Loyalty creates followership. The quiet path also requires patience. Real influence grows slowly, like roots beneath the ground. You do not see it at first, but it holds everything up. Those who rush to power collapse under it. Those who build slowly carry it with ease. Patience builds depth. Depth builds gravity. Gravity attracts people naturally. You do not pull them. They come. You do not demand respect. It forms. You do not chase leadership. It follows you. Lasting influence is also built through emotional integrity. When your words match your actions, people trust you. When your calm matches your confidence, people follow you. When your restraint matches your wisdom, people respect you. Integrity creates alignment. Alignment creates belief. Belief creates movement. Movement is influence. The quiet path teaches you to move without friction. You stop fighting rooms. You stop forcing conversations. You stop competing for attention. You allow your presence to speak first. You allow silence to prepare the moment. You allow timing to multiply your impact. This is mastery. Mastery is not domination. It is alignment. It is understanding people without losing yourself. It is guiding emotion without controlling others. It is leading direction without shouting orders. Lasting influence also requires humility. Arrogance isolates. Humility connects. People follow those who respect them. They resist those who look down on them. The quiet path keeps you grounded. It reminds you that leadership is service. That influence is responsibility. That power is stewardship. When you respect people, they trust you. When you trust people, they support you. When they support you, you rise together. The quiet path is not about being small. It is about being centered. It is not about shrinking. It is about stabilizing. It is not about hiding. It is about standing without noise. The strongest people in the world do not announce their power. They reveal it through consistency. They reveal it through discipline. They reveal it through restraint. And over time, their presence becomes unavoidable. This is the final truth of speaking less and influencing more. You do not need more words. You need more clarity. You do not need more volume. You need more presence. You do not need more attention. You need more alignment. When these come together, your influence becomes permanent, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it.